It's time to get practical on the Pimp My Type YouTube channel. I asked you to send in your designs for apps or websites for typographic review, and a lot of you did. Thank you for that. If you still want to, there's a link in the description below. Manfred sent in his app design, which I'm going to review today with some feedback, some ideas what could be improved and my thoughts on it, because I think you all learn best with some practical examples. Ready to dive in and how to improve this app design or boost it? Then welcome to Pimp My Type Review. Hello and welcome typography enthusiasts. My name is Oliver Schönhofer. Let's get started right away with the example from Manfred, the Res app. He describes it as a resolution, something that easily should capture your running goals, for example. It connects with other devices. Just give you a brief overview of how much you have reached of your monthly goal with a very simple view, simple user interface. The questions before we start about this is, who is the key audience? And he said casual, sporty people. And what are their top 3 values? Clean, engaging, fun. And then he also said about the atmosphere he wants to create, it should be fun and it should be competition. So it's something sporty, clean, fun for casual people. So what Manfred did here, he basically used the design of the human interface guidelines or what Apple suggests. The typeface he uses here is San Francisco Pro Rounded. It's a free font, you can download it, and it's pre-installed of course in all the iOS devices. SF Pro Rounded and SF Compact Rounded, and it makes sense to use this typeface since he's got a very clean minimalistic interface, but it also appears on the Apple Watch when you, for example, track something or start a workout session in the fitness app. It also uses this rounded version of San Francisco. So this combines nicely. As I said before, font follows function. Is it functional? But it also follows a feeling. If you use the default typefaces from iOS, like here San Francisco, yes, it fits into the ecosystem of Apple better, but you want it to stand out a bit, I guess. So let's take a look at some slight improvements that already might work with the San Francisco Rounded. I duplicate the layer here just to give you a feeling for it. What annoys me a bit, or what I think could be improved, is that it's just black on white. This is a very harsh contrast and our screens are very bright and well designed, so you could reduce the contrast a bit by picking like something for off black. And this is very subtle, but it might already transform it a bit. And now about the typography of the actual things here. The space between the kilometers and the figure, between the unit and the figures, it could be reduced a bit. And there's a nice website, whitespace characters, where I always copy some whitespace characters, like for example here in 6 per m, and I'm pasting this now into the design here. Oh, it's not such a big difference here. Okay, maybe I'll just use a hair space or 2 hair spaces then. You could also do it with pixels, of course. A little too little, but this looks quite okay. So now this unit is more compact and combined. And another thing that annoyed me here a bit is the slash. There's if you open the OpenType features, you have case-sensitive shapes. So when you activate this, it's aligned, it's better aligned. This makes it a bit more compact, very into detail. So when I'm looking at the design here and there, it's a slight change, a very slight change. You decide if it's worth the effort, but I think it makes sense to reduce the contrast, of course, definitely. Now let's think about some alternatives for typefaces here that could make this stand out a bit more. There's a nice typeface by Thomas Brusil from Suitcase Type Foundry that's called Nudista. I think it's got something sporty, something edgy, and it might work fine for the user interface. So let's just switch here to Nudista and see how this works. So, okay, maybe for the small type too. It will take up more space, but we have a lot of space anyway, and it's much more characteristically now. And if I take a look at this 49 kilometers, I think it's too bold in this situation. I could do maybe for a semi-bold, or yeah, this would work fine. This would work. And when I'm looking about this 60 kilometers, this could be bolder now. This is pretty too light. Yeah, the contrast is better here now. And if I compare it to the one before, it's got a different atmosphere, of course. It's more edgy, but maybe you can take it a step further even. Another typeface again for the headings to make it stand out a bit more. Is it clean? But for sporty, there's a nice addition to Nudista. It's called Culturista. It's a slab serif, and I think it's very fun and distinct. And this might also fit for just the headlines here, or maybe the current numbers. To Culturista. Right, now it's wider, so I have to make it a bit smaller. So, and maybe for the numbers too. These are some suggestions. Let's compare them all. This is the original design, very well done, very minimalistic, but I think you could get a bit out more if you pick a typeface that's more distinct. And now with my slide adjustments, spacing and color, and here with Nudista as a typeface. I think this is more edgy, a bit more modern, and since this design is pretty reduced anyway, typography and the typefaces have a lot of place to be recognized and seen. And here with the more slabby, slab serif, Culturista, this gives it a whole other atmosphere compared to the first option. So that's it for the first Pimp My Type review. If you learned something, I'm happy. Tell me in the comments below. Tell me what you think, what typeface would you prefer, and always happy if you hit that red button that says in terribly spaced all caps letters, subscribe. See you next time. It's time to get practical on the Pimp My Type YouTube channel. Time for some coffee. Coffee to calm the minds. Yes, it's really A to Z.